Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Survivor Savant podcast. I am your host, Nathan Newport, the self-proclaimed Survivor Savant himself, and today we are recapping the episodes 13 and 14 of Survivor The Australian Outback. Alright, so we're down to the final four now. We have Elizabeth, we have Keith, we have Tina, we have Colby. We have the final four that are left in the Australian Outback. After Roger, unfortunately, he got voted out. Good old Kentucky Joe. And the one, I'm sure everybody's missing Roger. Shoot, heck, I'm even missing Roger right now. Everybody's missing Roger, but especially Elizabeth, seeing how Roger was the Outback daddy for Elizabeth. I don't know why I'm stumbling my words. I apologize. He was definitely the father figure Elizabeth could depend on, since she was definitely missing her family. And she felt really bummed because not only did she lose the one father figure and the one person that she could trust out there, but she also lost an Kucha member, leaving Elizabeth to be the last Kucha member to be left in the game, leaving the other three members being Ogre to probably have the majority, which is not a good thing. Let's be honest, it's not a good thing knowing that you're probably outmatched and the last one left of your team, and you're left with other members of the opposing tribe. It's not a good feeling to have, but the only thing you can do right there in that I don't know why I said it right there. Okay, let's be real. I announce things in a totally freaking weird way. Sometimes I would say enunciate when it's actually enunciate. You can ask my stepmom. She would definitely tell you that I mix up my grammar a lot, which is why I haven't been best in English during high school. But that's a different story for another day. Okay, so back to it. So yeah, like I said, it's 3 Ogre cores, 1 Kucha left. You know, with how things are going, you think, and seeing how Ogre Core has the numbers, you think once they go to the next tribal council, they can just vote Elizabeth out, right? Well, a lot can happen. You never know in Survivor. Elizabeth could possibly win immunity and be able to go to the final 3 with 2 other Ogre cores. But let's get further into the episode and talk about what's going on. So, even though Ogre Core does have numbers, Colby is definitely a little weary of Keith after the whole, doing more spoonfuls of rice lately. I mean, yeah, it's getting down to the last number of days, but at the same time, you still gotta treat it like you're still thriving out there. And you gotta be wise about how much rice you use, because before you know it, the rice is gonna be gone just like that. I mean, not that I have no problem with it since I don't like rice, but no, I can see where Colby's coming from. Keith seems to be like somebody who is not really taking this game seriously, and he's definitely just out there for the adventure. I mean, he's even stated in some time in the episode, or at least in the next episode, that he doesn't really care about the money all that much. He's just out there to have an adventure and, I don't know, maybe find some self-discovery about himself that he never even realized, or what's most important about him in his life. Okay, I'm going to be real. If I were to be casted on Survivor, yeah, the money's good, and I absolutely love how to go on an adventure. I mean, Survivor is definitely no ordinary adventure. It's not camping. It's kind of extreme, seeing how it is reality television. But anyway, I think the one thing I can look forward to if I'm on Survivor is, one, being the first person to be on Survivor who's autistic, and two, Two is to just fully live out the dream I've been wanting to do ever since I was 8 years old. And really get that sense of adventure that nobody else would ever thought in their life they could ever achieve, because, you know, it doesn't seem like you can. I mean, I'm hoping for me it won't be that scenario, because I'm still hoping, fingers crossed, that I'm going to be on Survivor or someday. Hopefully, they can hear me back. The casting team, I mean. But, you know, I think something I would definitely look forward to in Survivor is being out there on the islands of Fiji, and second, maybe there's some part of Nathan that can actually come out. You know, I'm very creative, I'm very funny, but at some times I find myself being at a young age, like, I'm not taking life as seriously as much. And I hope that if I were to be on Survivor, I mean, I'm mature enough to not do so much childish things, but I'm also kind of at that stage where I still have a lot of room left to grow. And I hope that if I was on Survivor, that maybe this could be the opportunity for me to hopefully grow a little bit more and to be more adult, I should say, than I am now. I mean, you're as young as you feel. And as long as you have that spirit in you, and as long as you have that gumption to make life such a grand adventure as much as possible, then honestly you can make the best scenario out of life if you can. But putting that aside, so as much as Ogakor has numbers, Colby's also weary of Keith. And I don't know, if he were to have that chance to get Keith out, maybe he might take it. Who knows, maybe he'd take Elizabeth to the final three instead of keeping Ogakor tight. Maybe that'd be... Actually, that would be an interesting theory. What if Elizabeth got to go to the final three? With not Keith, but instead Colby and Tina. That would be an interesting theory. And who would win out of that final three if that were the case? No, that would definitely be interesting. And who would out of that final three be moving on to the finale, and who would be the final member of the jury if it was out of those three? I'm going to leave that up to you guys and see what you think. But no. Now, during the last several days of the Outback, they've definitely had their issues with food, you know, as far as hunger goes, and trying to fish and deal with the fruit that was filled with bugs, and even Michael scooping when he hunt down that pig, and the chickens that Kimmy didn't want anyone to eat. There's been some consequences with that. I mean, one is obviously the weight loss, but for two, especially for Elizabeth, she has been losing her hair. Oh my goodness. I have no idea how much that I must feel bad for. I mean, I don't know exactly what I'm saying, to be honest, but losing your hair is a crazy thing to happen. Especially out there. I mean, I know right now, I don't know if I want to talk any further about this topic, because, okay, here's the thing. For people out there who don't have a lot of hair or are going bald, you rock it how you can, man. And I know for me, I'm trying to maintain my hair as much as I can while I still have it, because, let's face it, right now I'm not exactly a freaking Fabio at the moment. But No, hair loss is something that's kind of something no one he would expect in their life to happen. It comes out of nowhere when you least expect it. And that goes the same here with Elizabeth out in the Outback. She's got strands of hair that she's pulling out, and it's getting, oh my goodness. That's just letting you know how bad it is. How bad it's been since the last 37 or 38 days since they've been out there. I think it's 37. Yeah. But 37 out of 42, by the way. So, yeah, I want to bring this up. Why did he make 42 days out there in Australian Outback instead of the regular 39? Why did they choose to do that? Because next season, Survivor Africa, they can go back to that format and switching it back to 39 days. Did they really want to test out how far of limits they can go with how many days they spend out there? Because 39 days is just as long, and 42 days seems like you're really wanting to test your limits on how long you can last out there. I mean, I might be wrong. I think Australian Survivor, I've never watched Australian Survivor, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought about watching it, but I don't know a lot of streaming services or platforms where you can actually watch Australian Survivor. I thought about watching it, and I've heard that they have lasted longer days than 39 and 42. That's interesting. I don't know. I would definitely have to look that up because it's interesting how long Australian Survivor does their amount of days more than the American version. But yeah, obviously the 37 days have taken its toll on the final four. Shoot, there was even one point at Tree Mill where they were given a scale to measure out how much weight they lost. And I could be wrong. I mean, I'm normally right. But I think between all four of them, they've lost a total of 85 or 87 pounds combined. And that's crazy. I'm not exactly sure how much weight they've lost and what weight they started previously, but I think it's amazing how much you can lose weight after the amount of days you play in a game like Survivor. I mean, me, hopefully, when I'm out there on Survivor, I'm losing the hope a couple of pounds on my gut. Right now, last time I checked, I'm 243. I don't know how much I'll weigh when I'm out there on Survivor. Hopefully it'll be around 230 or 225. I'll take those. But if I can lose more weight, I mean, I'm not gonna be a crazy guy and go, I want to go on Survivor just because I want to lose weight. No. That's a crazy thing you should do. If you want to lose weight, go to a gym. I mean, for me, I'm just losing weight how I can by watching my calories and doing more exercises. I mean, that's how I'm trying to manage my weight loss. So far, it's been working, and I hope it continues to work. But if you're just going out on Survivor just because you want lose weight, you're crazy, man. You are absolutely crazy. But anyway, moving on from that, we get into the reward challenge of this episode. Now, this reward challenge is kind of like a collage. More like a... No, I'd say it's more like a... What would you say it is? Would you call it a collage or more of a mixture of previous challenges? I mean, for me, collage would make much more sense, but I don't know. Maybe mixture would make a lot more sense. But anyway, you got a mixture of previous challenges they have had throughout the season, from the line challenge where you have to use like a rabiner to stay attached to the line. Another one is the shackles that they use in the Survivor Folklore Challenge. There was a slide puzzle. There was, the fire tower that the tower that they use for that fire making challenge, where you have the water on one side and then you're trying to get a fire started on the other, and when the water weighs down, the fire is raised, and whoever lights their thing first wins. So it's a mixture of all those challenges. And the reward for that challenge is a brand new Pontiac Aztek. At that time, it was the hit car for Survivor. It was a camp and a tent all in one. Now I probably mentioned this to you guys before. Sleeping in the car is actually not that bad. I mean, it's a lot better than a tent, in my opinion. But then again, I don't know. Okay. Recently, since I've gone camping, I think I've actually slept in a tent, and it's still uncomfortable. You definitely need an air mattress or something to keep to keep your back from hurting less. I don't know. Actually, next time I go camping, which it might be next week. I mean, you never know. If I do actually get to go camping this week, okay, I want to get this out of the way because I'm stumbling my words. I'm going to be honest. When I get done with this podcast episode and next week, I'm going to try my best to keep producing podcast content to you guys and still be able to, have a little bit of fun. I like having fun. But, I'm also at the stage where I got to get serious with my life. I got to build my career as a podcaster, a digital artist, and a comic book artist. And I really want to make sure that I'm still able to keep up with my content, because right now, this podcast episode should have been last Saturday. But I got so distracted with a lot of things going on in my life right now that it's really crazy. But I'm really hoping to make this work. I really want this to work. Because, let's face it, I'm a Survivor fan. I want to talk Survivor with everybody that I know. Or at least everybody that's listening to this right now. I really want to make this, not the best Survivor podcast ever, but, a good enough podcast that anyone could have a laugh at. That's my goal for this right now. I want everybody to have fun with this, to enjoy the content that I'm bringing, because this is something that I feel as though could really be, not necessarily my absolute career, but it's definitely worth something that could be a lot more fun as my life goes on. Something that I love to do. I love talking Survivor with people, and I hope that with this podcast, I hope it could go far beyond with what it is doing right now. But on that note, for the car reward, now this is not the first time we've seen this kind of car on Survivor before. It was the reward last season. Richard Hatch won one. Good for him. But they don't use it again next season, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the next car reward next season is a lot more different. But yeah, we get into the challenge. Everybody's locked in under their lines and trying to get through the grid of rope and attaching one carabiner to another line of rope as they're detaching another carabiner. That's the first stage. Second stage is where they have to... Was it? I know it was the slide puzzle, if I'm not I'm mistaken. Or maybe it's the... Because I know they had to unlock their shackle was at one point too. So yeah, they have to unlock their shackles. They have to do the slide puzzle. And I think there was a balance beam too that they had to walk across. And then they had to fill up the water bucket and make the fire and get the fire high enough to burn the tower. Whoever does wins the reward, not immunity. Good grief. And it was definitely a close race. They were all at their slide puzzles. Everybody was racing across their beams, and everybody was hard at work trying to get their fire going. I think there's even like these metal shed stations where they had all like the firewood that they needed to start. And wouldn't you know it, Mr. freaking Captain America himself, Colby Donaldson, wins again. Okay, that has been like like one I apologize to those who have to deal with my faulty computer wiring, or in this case me. But no, Colby Donaldson has won the last three. Okay, no. I'm wrong. So last episode, Colby did win the immunity challenge, but the reward was won by Tina. Then the episode before that, Colby won, and the reward was also won by Colby. It was the cowboy reward, or the cowboy barbecue, or the cowboy dinner reward. And Colby also won the immunity challenge. And so that's like 5 challenges in a row. Oh, that he won, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's 5 challenges in a row that he's won. Crazy. Very, very crazy. So Colby has definitely become like a challenge, like a dominant challenge winner in Survivor Australia. And this is great. Okay, I forgot to mention this. So aside from the car, he also gets a nice shower, a nice bush shower that he gets to have out there in the Outback, along with a nice dinner. And of course, everybody's happy for Colby. And Colby gets to go on the reward with the car. Oh, actually, before he left though, Tina and Elizabeth gave him this nice bundle of flowers that he got to have, and it's kind of like a housewarming gift, but instead it's a car warming gift, they said. And as Jeff was coming down to take Colby to a reward, he was wondering where Keith was. I mean, Keith left earlier because he wanted to go take a walk and really get to experience the nature of the Australian Outback. And I'm not gonna lie, I mean, if I was in a much better like scenario, like if I was not actually playing Survivor in the Outback, I would absolutely love to take in the scenery. Mind you, that I also have to be wary of all the dangerous venomous creatures that are also out there in the Outback, from spiders to snakes. Because, as they've stated, Australia is home to Australia's home to a lot of venomous snakes. And one thing you gotta worry about in Australia, other than spiders, because let's face it, they are freaking huge, is snakes. You can look, but don't touch. Don't touch. But no, I'd definitely like to go to Australia one of these days to really go sightseeing, and I would love to go to the Australian Zoo. And who knows, maybe I might run into the Irwins, hopefully. But no, it's great that Keith. It's kind of weird that he didn't really like interact with them as much, but Keith wanted to have some time to himself, and I can honestly say I could appreciate a guy who wants to take some time to himself and really get to know the lay of the land a bit. But at the same time, you gotta let people know what you're doing, bro. Like, you can't leave them guessing, wondering if you're doing something crazy. But, we get to reward. There's the Pontiac Aztec with the tent all set and ready, along with the bedding and pillows, and got a nice dinner table all set up. Got the appetizers ready for Colby, and he's enjoying it. He's eating it. And Jeff asks if he's ready for the entrees. And he's like, yeah, I would like the entrees. And Jeff was like, hey, can we get the entrees out, please? And out comes walking a woman with curly hair and a pink ink tank top, wearing jeans and like a cowboy hat almost. And it took Colby a second to recognize, but it was actually his mother, Gay Donaldson. And it's cute to see them react to their loved ones visiting. This is the second loved ones visit had to happen throughout Survivor history. The first being Sean and his dad that was visiting on the yacht reward, which Kelly Wigglesworth was really upset about. And, oh my goodness. She was stunned at how skinny some had become after her being out there in the Outback for so many days. Like, next thing she was wanting is that when she get back home, he makes sure that he's well fed and back up to like, freaking not skinny anymore. But I think it's cute to know how much a mother could worry about their son. I mean, shoot, I know constantly I'm not too constantly, but I do get check-ins from my mom every now and then about how I'm doing and making sure that I'm doing all right and that I'm doing good as far as my content goes and making sure that I'm up to date on things. She makes sure that her boy's all right, which I am, Mom. I'm doing okay. And it's always nice to have like a mother's support on things and making sure that they love you and that you love them back, and it's good to have a mother's love. But after the reward, after the dinner, Colby got to have a shower, his bush shower, which was like a wooden shower stall, and you have this like bush shower head where you fill the bag up with water and then you twist the valve and water comes out of the shower head. I have never actually showered when I've gone camping, but I've actually when I went to go camping with my church, one of my friend's parents' RVs had a shower, and he got to borrow their shower. I've never actually showered out in the woods before, and I've seen those tents to where you can use them for showering. I don't know if I'll ever get one like that, nor will I wonder if I'll ever shower in one of those. I'm hoping that if I am married or save up enough money to get my own RV, that maybe I can shower with that, but I'm not sure about showering out in the middle of the woods. I'm kind of like a little nervous about that. But after that, Colby gets to take his mom back at the camp where he got to introduce her to all of her trimates, including Tina, Elizabeth, and Keith. Like, they were all surprised and grateful to meet her, and they were even given like these small care packages, or care packages, is that the right? Well, there weren't fruit baskets, I'll say that. They weren't, but yeah, they each got their own like package from their loved ones from home that had everything that they love, and it was nice. It was nice that they got to have gifts, and again, Colby got to see his mom. That's very nice. Okay, let's be real. If I was ever on Survivor, and right now they only have like letters from home that they got to read with their meals, but I'm really, really hoping that we get to see loved ones visit again. I mean, COVID is, in my opinion, COVID's gone. I'm gonna be real. COVID is non-existent anymore, and I know that 26 days is the shortened time of days right now, and that might be hard to like film around that. I mean, we're all still hoping that 39 days will come back one of these days. I made a joke. But I'm hoping that we actually get physical loved one appearances. I hope that we do get to bring that back, because whether it is cringy or like eyeballing into some people, it's still something everybody needs. Everybody needs love. And having the appearance of your loved one is something that everybody he wants when they're out there. Like, they want to see familiar face that they've been wanting to see for the last several days. And for me, for one, I'm hoping it's my parents, both real parents and step-parents. I wouldn't mind my siblings either. Or if I'm dating one of these days, I would love it to be my girlfriend or wife if I'm married. Or shoot, depending on how long it takes me to be on Survivor, or if it doesn't get canceled, maybe it could be one of my kids. You never know. But no, having your loved one be there physically is something that everybody really appreciates, and you really do get a lot of momentum when you read a loved one's letter, but to have them physically there, in my opinion, is so much better. And they can say whatever they want about, oh, they're crying, boo-hoo, who cares? Let's be real. If you're out there for that many days, you don't know if you're going to cry yourself. I mean, I'm hoping I'm not. I'm just going to have a big smile on my face if I do see one of my family members and give them a hug and chuckle a bit, because, let's face it, I would probably look ridiculous when I'm out there. It's going to be something I would definitely look forward to if I was on Survivor. That, and also winning my first individual immunity. Those two things I'm probably look forward to on Survivor. Winning, hit or miss. Winning's a hit or miss if I was on Survivor. I'm hoping that I can have a chance to win if I do well enough out there, but you never know how good of a game player you are unless you're out there. I'm hoping I'm a game player. I'm a good game player. With the amount of knowledge that I know about Survivor, I'm hoping I could be a good game player. And with everything that I'm learning from everyone in my life about how to talk to people, I'm hoping I'm a good social player too. Because being on the spectrum, you're not normally good with social cues and all that. And I've been kind of learning how to read social cues a lot better, and how to not do facial expressions to where if I look pissed, that means it would look like that I'm pissed at someone, when in reality, I'm mostly pissed at myself sometimes. But, no. I'm hoping that my social cues and my social interaction will improve if I was on Survivor. But anyway, moving on from that, we have the immunity challenge. Now, for the immunity challenge, it's all about memory in this scenario. There are, I think, 18 or 22 items amongst the Was it 24? 24. 18, right. There are 18 pairs of items out there. And they have to match the item by uncovering one item. And when they uncover another item, if it's the same thing, they score a point. If they find one item, but they find a different item, they don't get a point, and they have to put the things back on. Whoever has the most items at the end of the matchmaking game wins the immunity necklace. I don't know why I'm calling it a matchmaking game, which is not actually what the challenge is called, if that's right. But there are different amounts of items from wooden pigs to wooden kangaroos to jawbones to femur bones to even kangaroo poop. Yes, you heard me correct. There was a kangaroo poop that was an item to be matched. And for most of them, they got like 3 to 4 to 5. And Colby was in the lead. And if Colby found one more matching pair, then he would win another challenge once again. And the first item he found was a jawbone. Now, I think somebody else, I don't know if it was Colby or not, did find a jawbone. But they're trying to remember where it was, and it's a little tricky. Okay, I'm gonna be real. If I was playing that that game too, I'm hoping my memory's good, because when it comes to Survivor, I can remember a lot of things, but I'm hoping that my memory doesn't fail me if I'm out there on Survivor, because I can remember a lot of things about Survivor, and hopefully, if I'm playing a challenge like that, maybe I can remember where the items were and what place they were and what item was. I'm hoping my memory is that good, because it's been good for so many reasons. But there have been times that it has failed me. But now, Colby found the jawbone, and the next item that he uncovered was a jawbone. And Colby, once again, wins immunity. This was the fourth? Yeah, this was the 4th straight time Colby has won immunity. He is, if I remember, he is tied with Kelly Wigglesworth when she won 4 immunities. So she was the first female to consecutively win a lot of immunity challenges, while Colby was the only male to win in consecutively a lot of immunity challenges. And I don't know if the record gets beaten, but I know that there's a group of individuals who are in that club. I mean, for the women, Kelly is one of them. There's also Party, if I'm not mistaken, along with Chrissy Hoffbeck from Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers. And I know for guys, there's Mariano to Ozzy to Mike Holloway to I think also Bob Crowley. Well, I think Bob only won like 3 immunity challenges. That wasn't enough to get himself in that category, but no. Okay, I don't want to be like a major challenge beast or anything, but if I find myself winning a lot of immunity challenges and being able to be in that club, then good for me. That would be awesome if I somehow go into this and become a challenge beast. That sounds cool. But no, Colby wins his 4th immunity challenge, and we go to tribal council. Now, we have talked about how Keith has been on Colby's mind, and he's been wanting to get rid of him for a while, and because he's kind of annoyed and not really thrilled about it with how he's been treating the rice for the last several days. And I know that there was the idea of having it just be the 3 Okakors at the end, and having no Kucha left in the game. So these 2 choices kind of, like, really make your mind wonder what's the best move right now. But of course, sticking with the original game plan, it was 1 vote for Keith, 3 votes for Elizabeth. The 6th person voted out. No, wait, not 6. The 13th person voted out, and the 6th member of the jury, Elizabeth Hasselback, who is now in the jury. The last Kucha is gone, and is now down to the last 3 Oga Corps members. We then cut to the next episode, where immediately we already know that it's those 3 left standing, and the reason, Tina explains that the reason behind... Actually, no, it wasn't Tina. I know Elizabeth, after she was voted out, she said the only reason why she's not on there is because she knew that if she stayed around longer, then she could have beaten any one of those 3. And in my opinion, she does have a point. Most of the jury consists of Kucha members. Like, at the moment, it was just 3 Kucha members with 2 Oga Corps. But if it were, like, let's say Elizabeth and Colby at the end, and it was Keith and Tina on the... Actually, no. If it were Keith and Tina on the jury, along with Jerry and Amber, and the 3 Kuchas, I don't know, depending on how their preferences are with both Elizabeth and Colby, would Elizabeth have won? Because Colby was a challenge beast, but I don't know if that would be the best, like, reason why he's the winner. I mean, Elizabeth definitely had, like, a better social game when it comes to getting everybody to like her. She hasn't done anything bad to, like, harm them. Wow. I'm starting to realize this now. Yeah, Elizabeth wouldn't have... Actually, that does bring a good point there. If Elizabeth had gone to the final tribal council with Colby, would Colby won or would Elizabeth won? I mean, Colby was the better physical player in this game, but I think Elizabeth has just as good of a social game just as Tina does. If it was those 3 at the end instead of Keith, Tina, and Colby. I don't know, that would have been interesting. Okay, let's be real. Would Elizabeth have won if it was just her and Colby in the finale? You guys let me know. I'm curious. But no, we get into the next episode, and the cast, the tribe is informed about, they were given these supplies like paint, brushes, feathers, and beads, and all that, and 3 wooden logs, and they had to make their own, like, idols that represents them. And it's supposed to represent your transformation or your experience while you've been out there on the Outback, and how your whole experience, or how your whole, not life, but more like how you've changed as a person since you've been out there on Survivor. And it's interesting. Some of them were putting beads on their neck, on their items. Some of them were putting feathers, and I think I remember one point Colby had just painted his like green, white, and black. Yeah. And then they got to take their idols, and they of course got to go on the rite of passage, where they walked by the torches of their fallen comrades and got to remember them and how they impacted the game. Of course, we had Deb, who was the first person voted out, the correctional officer with the not a booming voice, but she was definitely authoritative. Got Kel, the army man, who was not so good at fishermen, but was so good at being targeted for stealing beef jerky. Next was Marilyn Mad Dog, who was definitely the female Rudy out there. Next was Mitchell, who was seen as somebody who was not really helping the tribe out much, but was also a number for Jerry. And by number, I mean alliance member. Then we got Kimmy, the vegetarian who refused to eat cow brains or chicken. Michael Scoopin, who was the leader, I'm using that in quotes, of the Kucha tribe, and got to kill a pig, and unfortunately had to leave the game because he burned his hands in the fire. Next was Jeff Varner, who left due to having one vote, or at least more than he remembered, after a tie with Colby and Jeff. Then we got Alicia, who was also probably considered to be a challenge threat if she has stayed around longer. Then we got Jerry, the Black Widow. Next was Nick, who wasn't really seen as doing a lot. Actually, you know what? I will rephrase that. Let me take that back. Here's why. There have been moments where Nick was actually helping. I remember him when he was helping out with fish, and there were times where he was gathering supplies for his team from firewood, and I think was he there when he was picking out fruit with Scoopin? He might have been. But I mean, let's be real. If you're a Harvard law student, you gotta have going to Harvard is probably you had to have done something special if you're going to Harvard, if you were a Harvard law student. So I don't think you would have gone to Harvard if you hadn't done anything. But okay, moving on from Nick to Amber, who was kind of like Jerry's best friend out there. And next we have Roger, aka Kentucky Joe, the Outback daddy of Kucha. And of course, the recent voted out member, Elizabeth, who was really sweet. Sad to see her go. And then we meet up at a waterfall where Jeff is waiting for them. He informs them that he wants them to take time to reminisce about their adventure, and then after that they chuck their idols into the river where the waterfall is. And of course they each got to do that, and we get to see their idols flowing down the river. Then we get to Tribal Council, where the last immunity challenge was held. Now this challenge is very well known. It's called Fallen Comrades. Jeff will ask each of the tribe members about past contestants who have been in this season, about certain topics like what did they do, fun facts about them, like their tattoos or piercings, or who's related, or whose clothing they had. I remember there was one question about who out of the jury has a degree in art, and, well, not a degree, more like a major. I think it was major. A lot of them thought it was like Nick or Jerry or Jeff, but it was actually Roger. And Tina was surprised by that. And there's another question about who out of the Merge tribe, which two Merge tribe members had Asian tattoos? That, of course, was Alicia and Jeff. And there was also another question about what piercings or jewelry do Alicia and Jeff have? And the answer was toe rings. I've never seen toe rings before, but I'm not sure if I ever want to. And next was, another question was, okay. There was another question about, on their Survivor casting bio or application, who said they wanted to be stranded on an island with Bill Clinton because he is the most likely to be saved? And the answer was Nick. Interesting. Nick would much rather be on an island with Bill Clinton because he's the one who's most likely to be saved. I mean, I can go all day about political jokes, but I'm not really that type of person, so I'll just move on from that. But anyway, after the last question was said and done, after all the answers have been said, Keith couldn't be able to answer the question because he had the least questions answered. So it was between Tina and Colby. Not surprising, right? But after their answers, it was Colby once again who won immunity. 5 straight times Colby has won immunity. This definitely puts him in a big group of individual. He was the first man to win a lot of individual immunities. And it won't be the last. Like, I can go all day about who's who in that group, but I want to, be able to move on. But, then again, this is about me expressing my Survivor knowledge. But at the same time, I'm also kind of, being conscious about how much time I want to keep on this episode. But, no. So, Colby gets to go to a final 2 at the last tribal council. The final tribal council, that just to be more accurate. And he either has to take Tina or Keith with him. And he has to write down the name of the person he does not want to take to the final tribal council. Now, we've been waiting for this because it's been heavy on his mind a lot lately. But the 14th person voted out and the last member of the jury is Chef Keith Famey. Keith was the last person to join the jury, and that leaves only 2 Ogre-cores left. Colby Donaldson, the auto customizer from Texas, and Tina Wesson, stay-at-home, well, not stay-at-home mom. She is a mom. She's also a nurse, from what I heard, from Knoxville, Tennessee. So it's just those 2. And at the last day, day 42, there, of course, were taking down their camps and their camp and burning all the wood and all the stuff, the supplies they used to make the shelter, and they even had the tribe flag. the orange tribe flag that had the logo on it, and they were like, all right, let's make a deal. Whoever wins the season gets to keep the flag. And it's an interesting wager. That's well, not really much of a wager, but whoever wins gets to keep the flag. Cool deal. So we get to the final tribal council. Jeff has stated to Tina and Colby they have endured floods, out of control wildfires, extreme heat, very cold nights, but they are standing or sitting there as the last two who left in the game because they proved that they deserve it. And they now had to convince the jury that they have what it takes to win this game. Now, of course, they make their final statements on why they deserve to win. Tina mostly focuses on the fact that she wanted to play a strategic game, and that if the jury respects a very more strategic game than rather getting feelings hurt, then she should vote her way. She hopes that the jury votes because of strategic reasons and not because they had their feelings hurt. And Colby was more on the fact that he doesn't think that he's played a good game, but he's also kind of seeing himself as like somebody who's more best fit to win, but he doesn't think he's like the best at everything, if I remember right. So we got different questions from the jury, like what was their most favorite thing that they've done in the game, and what was their least favorite thing that they've done, to what do they plan to do with the $1 million if they win it, and who were the least deserving people to be at the final tribal council. And it was interesting, the responses that they gave. Now, Tina was very honest, but also she wasn't like being deceptive or mean about it. She definitely, full honestly, speaks from her heart about her answers to I remember at one point from the most favorite thing that she's done, the least favorite thing she's done. For her least favorite, she didn't like sneaking through Kel's bag when he was accused of beef jerky, and that she was the one that she had to do it. So she says sorry to Kel, even though he wasn't there, but she knows that he's watching. And then she said that the two people who were least likely to win $1 million, in her honest opinion, were Jerry and Roger. Although I'm kind of wondering why Roger would less likely be the one to win $1 million. I think it's because I think Roger's already kind of had like a great life in his life, and truly this was just an adventure for him, and it's not really necessarily just to win $1 million. I can get behind that reason, but Colby definitely is totally honest about his answers, and that Jerry doesn't deserve to win because she's been a villain throughout this entire game. And Keith doesn't win because, let's face it, Keith doesn't really care about winning $1 million. So why should he want to be at the end for that reason anyway? And we get to the voting, and we see most of them vote for Colby, and we see some that vote for Tina, but we don't see, there were only 2 votes that were not revealed. And the only way we would get to see the results is at the live finale in the U.S. in Hollywood. And, of course, they would all be more dressed up, and Colby and Tina would have gained more weight back on after being home. And it's been a long wait for this. We're very curious to see who will win the title Sole Survivor, the $1 million check, the Pontiac Aztec, which Colby already won, and if he won this prize again, that would be great. Maybe he could sell one of them. And also, what's on the line here is the tribe flag from Barramonte Camp. So that's going to be fun. So we get to the votes. We get 1 vote for Tina, 1 vote for Colby, 2 votes for Colby, 3 votes Colby, 2 votes for Tina, 3 votes for Tina, and in true Survivor fashion, it all comes down to one last vote. The winner of Survivor The Australian Outback, from Knoxville, Tennessee, Tina Wesson. Tina Wesson is the first female to win Survivor. She is also the first oldest woman to win Survivor, which I'm kind of more surprised that there hasn't been an older woman to win this any recent seasons. I know there have been many that tried, but they have failed. But I'm not gonna lie. If we somehow do get an older woman to win again, and I'm actually more hoping that... Okay, let's be real. I'm hoping that I get to win in Survivor, or if I was ever on the show. But there's been more guys, from what I've seen, there's been more guys that have won Survivor than women. And I'm not being like gender biased or anything. I'm not going to be like that, but I'm more of like a... I don't know what I would call myself, but if more women can win Survivor, that'd be awesome. I mean, so far, since the new era, we have had 4 women who have won the past 6 seasons of the new era. We had Erica from 41, Marianne from 42, Dee from 45, and Kenzie recently from 46. So if we get another female winner, or if it's going to be like a pattern here, like we've had 2 winners in the beginning of the new era that were female, then the next 2 seasons we had guys who won, and then there's 2 women that won. So if there starts to become a pattern here where it's like 2 women, 2 guys, 2 women, and 2 guys, I don't know, I think that'd just be funny. But nonetheless, we finish off Survivor, the Australian Outback, with Tina Wesson winning. And that's great. Everybody's like excited for her back in Texas. No. Colby lives in Texas. Tina lives in Tennessee. Get it right, bro. And of course, while it's great for her to get noticed by many people, it's also kind of like, alright, let's... while it's also exciting to be recognized by people, you also kind of feel like, I would like to have some space for a bit. Like, I mean, yeah, I can take your picture with you, but at the same time, and when you're done, you're done. Like, I would like to have some time to myself. And recently nowadays, with social media, it's either you love them or you hate them. And most of the times, they want to hate you. I'm hoping... I mean, I don't know what it's going to be like for me if I was on Survivor and if I was on there and people didn't like me because I'm autistic, or they just don't like me because I would be a jerk without me even realizing it. I'm hoping that if I was on Survivor, that I wouldn't be attacked all that much online, but then again, you never know. You never know what can happen in life. Life throws a lot of funny obstacles at you when you don't even realize it. But, I don't know. But, no, it's obviously, after this season, some of them have gone on to do a lot of things. There have been some contestants that have come back in future seasons. One of them got to be on a talk show. Elizabeth, by the way. And then I remember Keith actually released his own cookbook, which is cool. And I know that Colby, if I remember right, yeah, I remember. Colby actually got to host a show called Top Shot on the History Channel, which, by the way, I think it's cool. But in my opinion, Colby, although he tries to act tough, he's not really like a tough guy. Like, you can give off the booming voice as much as you want and make yourself sound tough, but if you really want a tough host who knows what he's talking about, get Craig Sawyer. Like, the guy's been on there, and he's an expert when it comes to knowing what guns to use and how they're used correctly and how to properly shoot things with. But Craig Sawyer is definitely more of a better host than Colby Donaldson. No offense, Colby. Love you, dude, but I think Craig Sawyer will make a better host than you. But no, it's good to see that some of them got to go on to better things in their life, and that they're really happy with how their lives are going. Then there are some that are kind of, how do I put this? There are some of them that are not quite doing as well as we had hoped. I know that I know there's an incident with Michael Skupin, which I'm sure I've talked about in the past before, and I might talk about it again in a future season, but I'm going to leave it there for right now. But we end the season off with Tina Wesson winning. Congratulations, Tina. You're the second person to win Survivor. But next time we do this podcast, we are moving from the Australian Outback to the African Savannah. That's right. Survivor Africa is the next season we'll be discussing on the Survivor Savant podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to this. We're down to 2 seasons already, and with it being close to September, we all know that Survivor is getting near with the new season coming, Survivor 47. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I don't plan on actually reviewing that season because I'm already at the beginning of Survivor. I might as well keep going with going in order, and I will get to Survivor 47 when I can, along with the last previous seasons before that. But with that said, thank you guys so much for listening to my goodness, I am messing up my words. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of Survivor Savant podcast. And I hope you enjoyed being outclassed, outsmarted, and outspoken with the Survivor Savant podcast. Until next time, this is Nathan Newport, signing out.